What's up, everybody? It's another episode of RobLive, episode 11, and today we are talking about positive affirmations and how they can really change the way you feel about yourself. So I'm going to start with a couple of quotes. Actually, I have 3 quotes today. The first one is from motivational speaker Tony Robbins. The only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. Second quote comes from the great Bruce Lee. Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and they cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life. So that's from Bruce Lee. And then the last one comes from talk show host Wendy Williams. I'm no different than anyone else except that inside my mind, I am constantly being my own best friend. The kind of constant there in all of their quotes is this idea that we really have to be good to ourselves in the way that we speak to ourselves. And what I mean by that is not necessarily aloud, but that inner voice in your head. You know, what is it saying on a regular basis? What is it saying when you are approaching challenges, when you are in a state of maybe pressure or in a state of about to perform, whatever that performance may be, a speech or on stage? What are you telling yourself? Are you being that voice of confidence, or is it that voice of maybe lack of confidence or just not very sure of yourself? You know, what is that inner voice like? So today we're going to talk a little bit about, positive affirmations and how that can serve as like your built-in internal hype man. So I want to start with talking about this concept of hype man, right? So a hype man is somebody who's kind of around, typically a performer or an athlete, and is just pumping them up. Man, you can do this. Oh, you got this. Or you're the greatest. You're the champ. Go get them, right? 2 that come to mind. The first one that comes from the great boxer Muhammad Ali. He had a guy named Drew Bundini Brown, and he was, on paper, he was listed as a trainer, but his biggest contribution to Muhammad Ali was to hype him up. He came up with the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He came up with that line, and he and Ali would sit around. Muhammad Ali would sit around and come up with these rhymes and poems about their opponent and just things to hype him up and get him going. And all through training, whenever it got challenging, Ali mentally would heavily lean on Bundini for the right words, for the, let's go, you got it, champ, you can do this. Another example is one of my favorite hip-hop groups from the 80s, Public Enemy. The featured rapper on most of their rhymes was Chuck D, and he was a great rhymer. And then he had a hype man. His hype man was Flavor Flav, who was, equally important to the group, because even though Flavor Flav didn't have as many verses as Chuck D, he got everybody going. Yeah, yo, Chuck, tell him, and he even had his catchphrase, yeah, boy, which a lot of people remember to this day. Maybe you say it, you don't even know where it came from. It came from that original hype man, Flavor Flav. So the thing that Flavor Flav and Drew Bundini Brown had in common is they would emulate this positive voice that, if you didn't have it in your head, they would be that living voice outside of you, confirming, validating, complimenting, everything positive to keep these guys going. And so you understand the value of that, but then you think to yourself, okay, well, I don't have my own Flavor Flav. I don't have the resources to have a guy like Drew Bundini Brown around me at all times to hype me up when I need him, right? So what do people like us do, everyday people who may not have the resources or associations to be able to have a constant hype man around us? We build this internal hype man, and the way we do that is using positive affirmations. And these are just very clear, confident statements that we make about ourselves, about traits, personality features that we want to possess, right? As if they already exist. Let's say, for example, that I want to build confidence. I would say, I am a confident person, as if that already existed within me. We're like speaking it into existence. And if you're like me initially, when you think about positive affirmations and you hear people talk about, making these positive statements about yourself, it feels very contrived, very, I don't know, kind of hokey, and like, that stuff doesn't work. But over time, I've realized that they do. And one of the things that convinced me, right, take a minute here to suspend your doubt if you're not sure about affirmations. Think about commercials, right? When you watch a commercial for like Gatorade or Mentos, the fresh maker, these are very, like kind of cheesy commercials, like, oh, I get it, this NBA players drink Gatorade, so, somehow that's going to make me want to drink Gatorade. Or the Mentos fresh maker, you have a problem in every commercial and it gets solved, and you have Mentos and it helps you solve problems. And so, it's this association, this positive association with products. And we look at those commercials and go like, yeah, right, that's not going to work on me. What you don't realize till later is that the commercial isn't speaking to your conscious self, the part that's thinking about it and going, hey, that's not going to work on me. It's on a subconscious level, right? So that the next time you do see Gatorade, you're like, maybe I will have one of those, right? You don't consciously say because the athlete drank it, but the back of your brain is working at all times, and it's taking in information for better or for worse. And if you didn't think that worked, why would we spend millions of dollars every year, these profitable companies, on having Super Bowl commercials? Right? Super Bowl commercials can cost anywhere from 50 to 60,000. I'm sorry, 1,000. I wish 1,000. Right? 50, 60 million for all these commercials to come out every year. So who are these companies spending millions? Right? These are companies that know how to be profitable, and they understand that this sort of, commercial subliminal message type stuff, it does work. So how do we use this to our advantage, right? And that's the positive affirmation. It's a list of statements we make about ourselves, about traits or qualities we'd like to possess, and we repeat them on a daily basis. And so eventually it becomes part of just our internal voice, right? For me, personally, I have some on my wall. Like if I look above my screen right now, I create valuable and inspirational content that serves others. And I read that all the time now when I'm about to do something online with you guys. I also have some affirmations for when I play baseball, and some when I'm just living my daily life. And another kind of proof that this really works for me personally was growing up, I had several friends who did this. I would see little post-its on their mirrors in the bathroom, or they'd have something posted near their dresser in their room, and I would always say, okay, what are all these statements you're talking about? And two friends in particular, and they'd be like, oh, that's just, I say these things about myself, and eventually they'll become a reality for me. Things like I'll be a successful business person, or I'm going to be a college graduate, etc. And at the time I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, kind of laughed it off. And not that money is the only measurement of success, but both of those individuals are today multimillionaires, and I don't think there's any coincidence there. I think they both spoke this into existence. And so I'm a firm believer in affirmations, and I'd like you to take a crack at it too, even if it's something that you feel may not 100% be in your comfort zone, right? We got to get outside our comfort zone sometimes. So today's RobLive challenge: 1, identify 5 to 10 qualities you would like to possess that you do not currently possess. Things like confidence or resiliency or discipline. Then write these things down on a piece of paper, or type them out on a document and print it out. But when you write down these things, write them in an I am format. For example, don't put I would like to be confident, put I am confident. I would like to be resilient, put I am resilient. Speak them as if they already are things that you possess, and you're just repeating it to yourself. Post this list in a visible place and repeat it to yourself daily for the next 21 days. And then the last step, see how it changes the way you look at yourself. See if you feel different about yourself. See if you feel any shift in your mindset, right? What do you have to lose? Those 21 days are going to pass anyway. Might as well try something that could potentially be a positive change for you. Okay, so again, positive affirmations. It's reprogramming the inner voice in our brain. If that inner voice is currently saying discouraging things or negative things, right, we can reprogram that. just like anything else. Your mind is taking in stuff all the time. So with that being said, love, peace, chicken grease. I hope to see you guys next time. And until then, read those affirmations. We're out.